All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon now. Happy lunch hour to everyone. This is Zach Sullivan at the Geneseo Chamber of Commerce. And the Geneseo Chamber is proud to present today's virtual Lunch and Learn featuring Geneseo Communications. We have Kay Croegaert. She's the Vice President of Marketing with Geneseo Communications, joining us today to discuss the citywide fiber internet expansion and the broadband expansion that's happening throughout the city of Geneseo. This is a great thing that's going to really benefit not only the residents of Geneseo, but also our business community in Geneseo, as well as the 10-digit dialing requirement that is new to our area. And so Kay will review all of that. At the end, we'll have a question and answer session. So before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to Bethany Winkleman State Farm Agency for the grant that enabled these virtual lunch and learns to take place. Kind of an educational opportunity, not only for our community, but for our member businesses as well. So thank you again to State Farm for your support to make these virtual lunch and learns possible. And so without further ado, Kay, I yield the floor to you for your presentation. Thanks so much for joining us today, Kay.
Great. Thank you, Zach, for the invitation. I'm really excited to be able to be part, and thank you also to Bethany for the support and letting these types of things happen. As Zach mentioned, I'm going to just go through a little bit with everybody about Geneseo Communications plans, what we're doing in the community, what it means to you and what it means to the businesses, and I guess as well as the residents and the community as a whole. So I'll get started. You know, today in the world that we're all in, still dealing with some of the COVID landscape, we're all finding that we are operating at light speed, and to do that, we're operating multiple data gobbling devices at once to keep up with those hectic lifestyles. But I think we've really found out that our work and school from home landscape has really equated to everybody with the need for more speed. So to help answer and address that, Geneseo Communications and Fiber Me Fast, as Zach mentioned, are launching a fiber expansion project, which is designed to connect homes and businesses to our gigabit fiber optic infrastructure. I'll share a little bit as we move forward of how this is being conducted over the phases, but it will at the end deliver speeds that we really need to support our economic development within the community, but also to address those needs for our families and businesses. So I wanted to really share, I guess, briefly a little bit about what fiber optic internet really is. I think everybody's heard fiber optic internet. We know it's faster, it's better, but what really is it? What does it mean? It is very much a faster service, but I think the main part is it is much more reliable. It allows us to connect, obviously, at faster devices, more speeds. But what I want to provide to you today is a little bit of a comparison of the services we have currently in Geneseo and what it means as it's compared to the fiber optic. Currently, our best home internet connection that we have in Geneseo right now is either a DSL, which is delivered by Geneseo Communications, or a cable served connection. And it is fast sometimes, but there's definitely a lot like a highway. At rush hour, it gets jammed during our peak traffic hours, and it definitely slows way down. And it really just cannot keep pace anymore with our mushrooming internet needs, and most especially over the last year with more people working and schooling from home. So I want to share with you a little bit of facts about what fiber really is. Fiber optic internet is a data connection that's carried by a cable filled with very thin glass fibers. I would love to be able to show you that, but I don't have a video on my screen that I can. But basically those pieces of fiber are as thin as a strand of hair, that piece of glass. So really it's a beam of light that travels down that glass, and it bounces off of some mirror type mechanisms within that, but it really delivers speeds that are really 20 times faster than actually what a cable can deliver, or even a DSL connection can deliver. And the real reason is, why is that? Why is fiber optic cable internet so much better than DSL or cable? And really the answer is there's really no copper wire within that delivery to gum the works up. and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but both of those services, and I'm not just throwing my friends at the cable under the bus, DSL is a lot like this. It sends services down metal wires, and metal wires heat up, and as they heat up, they weaken, and that slows that signal, and it also picks up interference. And again, that's why cable and DSL are much slower delivery than fiber optics. I think the big key factor of fiber optics is there are 3 ways fiber optics can be delivered. The first way is the way our friends at the cable company do it, and that they often say they have a fiber optic connection, but really what they have is a hybrid connection. They're mixing a fiber optic with a cable, and that is basically they take fiber to, and not to get too techie, but to what's called a node, and typically that node is about usually maybe about a mile or so away from your house. And they basically hand that off then to the coax cable that's running to your home. And that longer trip through those metal wires really slows that down. And it really is the slowest of the 3 options of delivery of a fiber optic service. The second option is not one we have here in Geneseo. It's a service that's in the Quad Cities area right now, but it is delivered over a utility pole. And basically it's the same mechanism. It's handing off, it's bottlenecking that signal before it gets into your home, which shortens that signal strength and makes it not as optimal as a true fiber to the home connection. The third delivery method is the way Geneseo Communications does it. And really the big difference is we take fiber all the way up to your doorstep. And that is a huge difference between the delivery of the 3 different types of fiber service delivery. I'll get a little bit into this, but I think it's important to note that Geneseo Communications chooses to put all of their fiber in what is a protective conduit to protect it from anybody digging or, popping through that conduit and breaking that fiber down. When we bring it up to your home, we come in with a piece of machinery which makes a very small slice line into your yard, and it puts a piece of conduit directly up to your house, and then we push fiber into that, so that's protected all the way up again to the outside of your home. So what are some of the main advantages of fiber optic internet speed? The big one is the reliability. I think everybody out there that's listening to this probably has had that where you're watching a show, maybe you're streaming something, and all of a sudden it freezes. That is indeed a result of your slow cable internet connection, but the truth really is that cable and DSL speeds are capable of delivering a streaming video. That interruption is more on the coax cable side, but really what it is it's the speed is the more users that get on it, the more that speed breaks down. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Because what that is it's a throttling that's happening. So when you get home at night and you got more, your kids are all on it, everybody's getting on it, you're going to notice those speeds going way down. I'll talk a little bit about that. But again, fiber optic speeds versus a cable speed, here's just a comparison. If you're going to download a 2-hour HD movie with a fiber optic internet connection speed of up to 1 gig, that downloaded movie comes down into your computer within about 40 seconds, versus if you're on that 25 meg cable, that same movie is going to take about 30 minutes to download to your computer. So I mentioned this, and this is really where fiber from Geneseo Communication, it gets very obvious the difference. We don't throttle on fiber, so we don't bring your speed down. You don't share your speed with anybody, and we don't cap your data. Capping your data is a big, huge part of the difference between a delivery maybe through a cable company versus what fiber would be through Geneseo Communications. But basically, as I mentioned, if you've ever noticed at night when everybody comes home, the kids are getting home, everybody's jumping on, you may notice a huge slowdown. And that is basically to control that shared connection during peak times. And again, cable will throttle your speed. And really what that method is they just take your 100 meg connection and they may lower it down as low as 20 or even lower than that, because they're basically just trying to take that shared speed and evenly deliver it to everybody on that, coming off that same cable connection. Again, the difference with fiber is we don't share it. You have a direct dedicated piece of fiber coming to your house. So whatever speed you have, that's your speed. It's not shared. I think though, even the best part is we have unlimited data use. I've had a lot of people that have contacted us and really got that surprise bill from a cable provider at the end that has a they limit your data. If you go over that, you get charged. And I don't know if anybody listening to that's ever had that experience, but if you have gamers in your house or you have people using a lot of data, it can really be a surprise bill at the end of the month if you've gone over your data cap. Another huge difference between fiber optic and DSL and or copper, or excuse me, and or cable, is that fiber is delivered the same download and the same upload. So again, in our world today, or maybe I should say the way we used to use our internet, it was all download. You know, we're downloading a recipe, we're downloading directions on how to do something. Again, in our world today, with everybody, a lot of people working from home, kids schooling from home, upload has become a huge component with your internet connection. You're trying to upload something, you're trying to upload homework, you're maybe uploading a big project that you did. That's where the big differentiator is between a fiber and a cable and or DSL connection is, again, it's symmetrical. So if you're getting a 250 meg connection down, you're getting a symmetrical to 250 meg connection up, which allows you to upload that information at the same speed you're downloading it. I thought this was kind of important to note because in a recent survey done by Open Vault, our upstream usage grew 63% between December 2019 and December 2020, compared to 18% in each of the previous 2 years. And that was all due to the pandemic. That lockdowns changed the nature of our upstream usage, and really honestly likely forever. I think it's no secret there's a lot of companies that are allowing people to remain in a work from home atmosphere. We still have schools that are doing kind of that mixed work from home, or excuse me, school from home option. So that need doesn't look like it's going to level off anytime soon. I had to throw this in here because it's funny. All of the things that I think are so important with a high-speed connection, I'm amazed at how many people need it for the purpose of gaming. If you've got gamers in your house, you know that fiber is, as it says here on the slide, the holy grail of a gaming connection. It's really honestly not that a gaming uses a lot of bandwidth. Where gaming fails is on the latency, the consistency, the lag time. With, again, DSL and or cable, you get a tiny hiccup, and to the point in this slide, you can get killed in your game quite easily. Again, DSL, or excuse me, fiber optic internet delivers a smooth and consistent flow of data, keeping your gamers in the game. Gone are the days where we just had the good old household computer, right? We all now have multiple devices in our home: PC, laptop, phones, smart speakers, smart home locks, thermostats, cameras. All of those use the internet. And that increase just keeps going up for more and more and more. And the delivery of more of those devices is coming in the market all the time. So the need for a fiber connection is just growing daily with the more connected devices that are coming onto the market and the more things that people are putting on their connection in their homes. But I think, you know, outside of all the things that I've mentioned, one of the big things is a safety component that fiber brings to the market. Fiber optic internet services, you know, they, as I said, just aren't for fun. They really do make our world a safer place. First responders need faster, more reliable internet to get their voice data and their video, which ultimately helps save lives. And better internet also gives all of us a deeper access to emergency services, and it provides more reliable notification in a time of disaster or national security issues. Telemedicine is also a big increase that we've seen. You know, obviously, again, getting back to our COVID time, we've got lots of people that have underlying conditions or maybe are older and they just would prefer not to go into that that doctor's office. They're turning to an online telemedicine to help diagnose and you know, to help them and let them be more independent and live in their home. And this, surprisingly, this has picked up greatly in our area. some of our own Unity Point, some of those people, Hammond Henry Hospital, are using some of the telemedicine. Again, that all requires that really fast, reliable internet connection to make that happen. So outside of everything I've just mentioned, unlimited, more reliable, symmetrical, what else does fiber really provide? And fiber allows people to go streaming. And we are just seeing many, many people, as we say, cutting the cord, as our little guy is over here. It's interesting to me that a lot of the the sales of ultra high definition 4K TVs really went up again over the COVID time. Those TVs pack 4 times more pixels into the same real estate, which makes for a crisper picture, but it also demands a lot more broadband for your internet connection. With speeds of 100 meg or less, traditional DSL and internet may struggle to deliver that streaming service to you. Fiber optic would not bat an eye at that. I know personally, I'm fortunate enough to have fiber at my house. We are on streaming TV. We use YouTube TV, and we love it. We have no issues at all. So I'm one of the many of the cord cutters that have gone to a streaming service. Something though that Geneseo Communications has adopted, and I'm going to click on this and show you, but everybody's like, okay, streaming sounds great, but there's so many streaming content providers out there. How do I know what's best for me? How do I know what I should go with? Geneseo Communications has a free tool, and I'm going to click on it here so that you can really see what it is. But you can go to our website, and really, I'm not going to take you all the way through this, but you can go through and ask a series of questions. If you have children, if you're a large family, multiple adults, put your zip code in here. You kind of go through the steps. I won't take you all the way through the process, but it basically asks just a few basic questions of how you watch TV now, what's important to you, local's important to you, sports important to you. It asks you those questions, and then it will come back and it will deliver and say, based on what you've told us, here's what we might recommend to you to try from a streaming content provider. This has just been invaluable for people that have said, hey, I want to cut the cord, but I just don't know where I turn to. So if you're at all thinking about that, this is on Fiber Me Fast, Geneseo.com site. It's free to use. You can do it as many times as you want. And it's really, really a helpful tool to help you to find out what is the best streaming option for you. Oh boy, hopefully I didn't lose my screen here. There we go. So again, I just kind of I've talked a lot about the advantages, but I want to talk a little bit about what it means for the community. And I think it's no secret that a community that has fiber optics is an attractive community to bring in business, even, residential relocations. It's just a great amenity for the community of Geneseo. And again, it helps with the expansion of the e-commerce and innovation. I thought this was an interesting piece of information. Studies have found that high-speed fiber broadband service with a gig or higher download speed can add a $5,400 value to your home. That's a lot cheaper option because we're bringing it to you than you putting in a fireplace or a half bath or a new half bath in your home. It increases the value. And I've talked to a lot of the real estate agents, and they are very much interested in knowing what areas and in what time frame we're doing this, because again, huge amenity when you're trying to sell a home. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, real quickly here, I think it's important to note how much our company's investing. I mean, we're going to put over $3 million in a multi-year fiber expansion project for the Geneseo community. But I wanted to show you this map because this shows kind of what our plan is, the areas of Geneseo. We're going to be starting down here in phase 1. This is a 3-phase project. Phase 1, we hope to have the main fiber completed already by the end of June. Then we'll move up here into the phase 2 area. That's hoping to be completed by the end of August. And then we'll move into phase 3, which is more over in this area, which is targeted for the end of October. This, if you go to this website, which is on fibermefast.com. Here's where you can pre-register for fiber service, but this will also give you a lot of information on what to expect, what's it mean for me, what's going to happen to my yard, how are you going to how am I going to notify you if I got a dog fence? Just lots and lots of different pieces of information are on our website, as well as all the phases in the build plan for this project. So basically, I kind of went over a little bit here about what our timeline is already, but I wanted to share just real quickly kind of what you can expect. I mean, first, as we need to move in and do our 100% all fiber construction to every home within the proposed build areas. And throughout that construction phases, you're going to see crews that are going to be locating underground utilities by marking yards. They'll be placing flags in yards. Following that, and pending weather, crews will begin the main fiber construction. Just to note here that construction phase is temporary, and of course we'll do our best to minimize any unearthed areas and restore anything that's impacted from the construction. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but to maintain the integrity of our fiber, we place it within protective conduit, and that conduit is trenched all the way to your address. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but it's via that small splice line. You can hardly even see it. Within days, you have a hard time seeing it within your yard. But before we do any of that, you're going to get a door hanger. Obviously, we want to know from you if you got any sprinkler system, dog fence, pump lines. Those are all things that we will ask before we even bring in or come into your yard. So again, just kind of what is the difference? What does this mean for us? I think it's important to note that Geneseo Communications has been here for over 120 years. We want to bring a better service to the community. It's going to be a fully redundant 100% fiber backbone delivering symmetrical internet speeds up to a gig. It's going to come all the way to the outside of your home, as I mentioned, and it's going to give a much better service to everybody here within Geneseo community. Fiber, we mentioned, it's unlimited, it's dedicated, it's symmetrical, and it's fast. Those are all huge components that fiber will bring. And I really urge everybody on this call and everybody within Geneseo to go out to our www.fibermefast.com and get pre-registered. It doesn't obligate you to take the service. It just lets us know as we're coming down your area what homes are interested in getting the fiber. So I think, Zach, instead of turning it over, maybe you want to turn it over to questions at this point, and then I can talk a little bit more about the 10-digit dialing.
Yeah, happy to do that. I just wanted to provide a little quick commentary first first, I think that this is amazing what Geneseo Communications is doing for our community. Like you said, Geneseo Communications has been a mainstay in Geneseo for over 120 years, and that in itself is remarkable. Never mind that this is a $3 million investment in our community. So thank you, Kay, to everyone for that kind of investment. And plus, we know that Geneseo defies a lot of the economic and residential trends that we're currently seeing in Illinois. We're fortunate to be growing. Our business community is growing. And now with this broadband expansion, we're going to have the infrastructure that's necessary to help move us into the mid 21st century. So I just think that this is remarkable. And I wanted to commend you and everyone at Geneseo Communications for your hard work on this amazing project. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that.
So yeah, if anyone has any questions for Kay, feel free to either drop it in the chat right now or go ahead and ask a question. And while we're waiting, I'll remind everyone of the website. It's www.fibermefast.com to get registered to learn more about the project. You can find a lot of information on that website. Not seeing any questions come in. Oh, here we go. Here we got a question. So Carla just says she doesn't have a question, but her husband is very excited about this. So
thank you, Carla. Appreciate that. We're all very excited. And to Zach's point, I think, Geneseo Communications, I personally am excited that we're bringing fiber to our home community. It's been a long time in coming, and we realize that. I think something I neglected to mention is this also includes the Wolf Road area. So Stonebridge on Route 6 isn't considered Wolf Road. They're fiber equipped. We'll be coming Bullock, Rustic Lake, and on down Wolf Road area as well. So we're not leaving our friends on Wolf Road out of the picture either. And this will be done by fiber cabinet. And I know that doesn't mean anything to anybody here, but a cabinet serves a certain population. And even though I say within the city of Geneseo, there are areas that go off outside the boundaries of what's considered the city limits. And you'll see that on that map that if you go to www.fibermefast.com, but we will be expanding to those areas as well. So.
All right, very good. A question from Tammy. She says that she missed the map area and was wondering if you could show that again real quick, or if this recording will be available to view later. Yes, it will, Tammy. This video will be uploaded to Facebook and the Geneseo Chambers YouTube page. So just kind of pay attention there. But yeah, if you could, is it possible to go back to the map real quick, Kay?
If I don't mess anything up, I'll sure try. Well, obviously I'm doing it by click, so bear with me. There's the map that I had up, Tammy. But if you go to fibermefast.com, there's an interactive map out there that you literally can see the different phases, the different expansion, and you can also put your address in. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but if you go to that website, you can click on something on the Get Fiber area. It will let you put your address in, and it will then let you know what offers are available to you and whether or not you can pre-register. So if there's a question about whether my address is served, you could go ahead and go through that process on our website.
All right, and then we have another question coming in. Sorry, I have to scroll through them. So will the splicing of the protective conduit, will that be coming into the front yard or backyard of the house? Or is there a location relative to your home, such as near the street, where that would take place?
Yeah, that's a great question. We always try to bring it in at the same point that all your other utilities come in. So wherever, your typical utility point is on the outside of your home, that would be coming in that direction. Now the direction of that splice line, again, it gets a little complicated, but there's something called a handhole, and that's where our fiber terminates in that handhole, and then that's where we pick up and then come off with the splice. I can tell you that when they spliced in my yard, we went out and my husband and I could not even find it in the grass where it was brought in. So it's very disruptive. You wouldn't even see it. But again, in answer to the question, it'll come in at the direction of where your utilities terminate on the outside of your home. So again, mostly it's backyard easement. Maybe that's what I need to say. We typically come in through the backyards. We don't usually come in through people's front yards. All utilities usually go in a backyard easement.
Okay, and then you mentioned that everyone's going to be receiving a door tag if their property is affected by either. Now, is there going to be like a general conduit that is being expanded? Specifically, I think like region, phase 3 in northwestern Geneseo. Is there going to be some like minor construction work in people's yards because of this, or?
The main fiber feed, which is the main construction that's going on right now, and that's where our contractors bore in the main fiber feed, and that will go out through the entire city, and that will all be done through the property easement areas. None of that will be in private yards. That's the main fiber bore, they call that. Once that's complete, then that's when the piece of equipment comes back in and we start to do what we call drops, fiber drops. And that's where we come in with that piece of equipment. I was just talking about that splice machine that puts this small piece of conduit and then blows fiber up to the outside of your home. Before any of that would happen on any private residential home business, they would receive a door hanger or some type of contact that says, hey, tell us if you have anything, here's who to contact if you have questions. But basically it says, as I mentioned, do you have a driveway melt system? Do you have anything buried in your yard we need to be aware of? A dog, the buried dog fence, that type of thing. And then we let people contact directly our contractor that will be doing that slice line, so that you can talk with them and say, hey, I've got this going on, or could you tell me a little bit more about how you plan to do this? And that's all part of that communication that we do prior to even stepping foot in your private area of your yard.
All right, outstanding. And then Jim Kelly, he's our economic development director
Hey,
here
Jim.
in Henry County. Good friend of the chamber. Thanks for joining us, Jim. Jim says that this is huge in an economic sense, and Geneseo becomes very attractive. And yeah, I agree. Again, this is just, the result of having a great business like Geneseo Communications in town, willing to put that investment, willing to help Geneseo be in a position where we can lead the charge in many aspects in our region.
Absolutely.
So,
And I echo that.
yeah,
You bet. It's just a huge perk for Geneseo, and I'm just thrilled that our company is setting Geneseo up for that, and gonna, bring a long time need to our community for sure. So thank you, Jim.
Okay, so seeing that there's no more questions, Kay, if you'd like to touch base on the 10-digit dialing requirement. This is something new for our area. So I was wondering if you could quickly review what that means for anyone who's trying to call somewhere locally.
Absolutely. So the 10-digit dialing is really coming from a decision made and adopted from the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission. And what the Federal Communications Commission has done is they've approved a 988 3-digit abbreviated dialing code, and it's for people to reach the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And they want that 3-digit code in place by July 16th of 2022. And the FCC's order is requiring all telecommunication carriers, interconnected voice over internet protocol people, providers, VoIP providers, and anyone who's providing that type of a service, that they need to take the necessary steps to ensure that users can dial that 988 by that deadline of July 16th, 2022. And really what it means, who's affected by it is really anyone. It's not just here in our area. This is a nationwide program. So anyone with a telephone number using service provided by our company for sure will need to make the change from a 7-digit local dialing to a 10-digit local dialing. And right now we've been sending out lots of notification to people about this. So back on the 24th of April, what we introduced was what's called permissive dialing period. And really what that is to try and to start educating and getting us all used to dialing those local calls using the 10 digits instead of 7. So right now, for a little window of time, you'll be able to, if you forget to dial 10-digit and you dial 7, that call will still go through. And it'll be permissive to allow you to do that up until October 24th. And on October 24th of this year, if you go to dial a local number using the 7 digits, it's not gonna go through. You'll get a recording that'll inform you that you need to redial the 10 digits. So we're kind of offering that permissive training period, if you will, to get us all in the habit of dialing the 10 digits. And I think something that's really important to note about this is if you have any life safety systems that you have pre-programmed to dial an alert number, and you have it pre-programmed on a 7-digit, fax machines, burglar alarm systems, security gates, speed dialers, anything like that in your home right now that you have pre-programmed to dial 7 digits, you need to get it reprogrammed for the 10-digit dialing. Not so you're unaffected by anything in the future or after that October 24th timeline. So that's kind of the skinny on the 10-digit dialing. We're doing everything we can to keep pushing out communication. In fact, if you're going to be getting some inserts and bills, we're putting things on Facebook. I mean, we're trying to get it out to everybody as much as we can, and do so everyone's educated and can make the change, or I guess our change our habit is what we're trying to do to a 7 to 10 digit dialing. So that's the basics on the 10 digit.
Okay, yep. So everyone watching, please remember to dial the area code for first.
Yes.
We're here in the 309 in Northwestern Illinois, so make sure you dial 1309 before you make phone numbers. But it sounds like that doesn't really take a firm effect until October 24th, correct?
That is correct. And just one clarification point. You won't have to dial a 1. It'll just be the 10 digits. So you just need to make sure you include the area code. So local numbers will still remain local. Nothing's going to change. There's no additional charges. Your phone number's not affected. It's just basically what we're used to dialing, that 7 digit to call for that pizza. We need to now dial 10. And those all still remain local. There's no additional charges on those calls at all. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. It's kind of seamless from that. It's just, again, a habit forming going from a 7 to a 10 digit dialing.
Okay, yeah, should be easy enough, but thank you, because I know that there's going to be some questions about that.
Sure.
And so we wanted to touch base because it is a change for everyone. And like you said, it's a nationwide change. It's not just something happening here in Geneseo.
Exactly, Zach. Yes.
So is there anything else for the good of the order? Any other questions? Or Kay, if you'd like to kind of close with a quick plug for Geneseo Communications?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for the floor on that. Again, I just really urge everybody to get pre-registered. If you're in Geneseo or even maybe what you would consider yourself to be outside the city limits of Geneseo, you may still be in the fiber served area. So go to the website, fibermefast.com. You can look at the map, you can read more about what it means to you, how it might affect you, what to expect, what advantages it brings to you, but you definitely want to get pre-registered. And I know a lot of people have said, well, why do I want to register until I have the fiber service? It really helps from a construction standpoint as we're bringing it down past your home to know that you may have interest in it. That helps from a contractor side of things to know I'm going to be dropping off from that handhole. Just again, from a construction phase, it just really helps. So I just urge everyone to pre-register. And I really remind you that if you do pre-register and you change your mind and say, you know what, I'm not sure I'm going to take that service, you're not obligated by registering. So we're not going to hold your feet to the fire on that one, but do go ahead and go out there and check things out.
All right, very good. And then with that, that concludes today's virtual lunch and learn. Kay, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to visit with us today to help educate the community and our business leaders and our business community about the broadband expansion. It's going to be very exciting. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity, Zach. Appreciate it.
Yep, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next virtual lunch and learn. We have a few big ideas coming down the chute, so we'll be doing another one by the end of the month. Again, thank you, Geneseo Communications, for your continued support of the Geneseo Chamber of Commerce. We truly appreciate that. And with that, I guess we'll see everyone next time. Be on the lookout for this video to be posted to our social media channels at the Geneseo Chamber, as well as the Geneseo Chamber's YouTube page. So until next time, stay safe out there, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.